Yesterday, Premier Kenney in Alberta estimated that it won't be till May or June that social distancing measures will be lifted. How long do you think social distancing and having people work from home will be in place for?
We are going to continue to follow the best recommendations of experts. We've heard anything from weeks to months. We know this is a difficult and extraordinary time in which Canadians are taking difficult and extraordinary measures, and we will continue to do that until Canadians are safe.
Bonjour, M. Olivier, c'est mon Fillon de TVA. Deux questions.
TVA, two questions. Border closures between the US and Canada, do you know exactly when that will come into effect? And your government has said several times in recent weeks that this will go on longer before it stops. So what is the worst possible scenario? First of all, with respect to the US-Canada border, we are working together to try and finalize the details with our American counterparts, and we expect these measures to go into effect probably in the night of Friday to Saturday, so in a day and a half. Now, with respect to the various scenarios out there, we are aware of a variety of possible scenarios, and what we're doing with respect to the social distancing and closing shops, well, we believe all of this will keep Canadians safer, and we will continue to be ready for any eventuality.
We are continuing to work on the fine-tuning of the agreement between Canada and the United States. I think it's almost there. My understanding is that the measures will probably come into place in the night between Friday and Saturday, so in about a day and a half.
CBC News. Prime Minister, President Donald Trump yesterday signed the Defense Production Act, which would allow the U.S. military to help in the production of personal protective equipment such as masks, and the Italian military is also helping to produce ventilators. Canada has its own Defense Production Act with similar powers, so are you considering using them, and under what kind of circumstances?
Yes, we are considering using any measures necessary to ensure that Canadians and our healthcare systems have the supports they need. We've already been engaged with industry on production and ramping up capacity to build and create more equipment. We will, of course, look at military procurement as a solution as well. There's a range of things that we can do, and we will do what is necessary. Okay.
Yes, we are looking at all the possible measures that could be necessary to ensure that the equipment people need is available. We have already talked to many different manufacturers about the needs of our healthcare system and what they can do to help, but we will also be looking at other options, and that could include the military's participation. Mr. Trudeau, with respect to the airlifts decided on by Mr. Champagne, do you think that there are certain countries that are determined on a priority basis? And will you repatriate the people on the ship in Marseille? Well, we are receiving an enormous number of requests from all around the world. Canadians did receive a text message. Canadians abroad did receive that message, and which told them who to contact if they need assistance. As I said, I also talked to the CEOs of WestJet and Air Canada last night, and we pointed out to them that we need to work together to try and repatriate as many Canadians as possible on an emergency basis. With respect to the cruise ship, I have no information at this time.
We said we're going to work very, very hard to bring Canadians home. It's time for Canadians to come home from around the world. We recognize that that will be a challenge. That's why we sent out a text message to all Canadians overseas with information on how to share their situation and get in touch with consular services. I spoke yesterday with the heads of our two large airlines, WestJet and Air Canada, to talk about how we can work with them to ensure that there are flights to bring Canadians home. We will continue to respond to the overwhelming demand by Canadians for support. We will be there to help them and get home as many people as we possibly can in the coming days and week. On the cruise ship in question, I don't have any specific information on that, but I'm sure there'll be further updates at noon on the regular press conference.
Guillaume Saint-Pierre, Journal de Montréal. Bonjour, M. Trudeau.
Good morning, Mr. Trudeau. What is your thinking about using the Emergency Measures Act, and how would that work? Would you need the approval of the provinces or of Parliament? And this is an option in terms of restricting movement between the provinces. Well, as I said, we will be looking at everything that can be done. We are not ruling anything out in terms of the options that we may want to rely on. At the same time, we do recognize that the Emergency Measures Act is an extreme law with certain implications that would also require us to bring back the House of Commons to pass these measures. So it is a major tool, and I can tell you that right now we already have a lot of tools that allow us to do what we need to do. If there are other steps that need to be accomplished and can only be accomplished through invoking the Emergency Measures Act, then we will do so.
Minister Jane Patrick, National News.